السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear respected listeners, it is only by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a special acceptance from Him and a special allowance from Him that we are experiencing and living through another month of Ramadan in our lifetime. There were so many people who were with us last time who are not here anymore. Everybody who gets any benefits, any extra day of their life, any extra breath, any future breath that they get, it is only by the acceptance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it deserves to be thanked upon. Let alone living long enough to see another Ramadan, the greatest, the most honorable, the most blessed of months in the whole year. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us an understanding, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us a realization of the importance of this month of Ramadan. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who derive full benefit out of this, every single moment of this blessed month. इनका कुरान शरीफ कहेंगे या तो ऊपर रख दें या डेस्क पे रख दें, या तो इनको डेस्क दे दें या फिर कुरान शरीफ ऊपर रख दें. If you want to put it back, you can put it back or put it on the desk. So this is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we should give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over. Last week we had started reading a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Narrator is Salman Farsi radiyallahu anh. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the last Jumu'ah of Sha'ban introduced and told the Sahaba what they should do in Ramadan. What is Ramadan and how should they interact with it or deal with it. And we had read that the Prophet ﷺ told them a few features of this month of Ramadan. It's a great honorable month, a month full of blessing in which Allah puts benefit and barakah in everything. And it's a month that contains a night which is better than 1,000 months. And the fasting and the night prayer, which is Taraweeh, they are mandatory by the command of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam respectively. And the special thing about this month of Ramadan, in which we can travel way faster towards Jannah and make our right side of the mizan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala way heavier very easily, is that in this month everything that we do in terms of good deeds, they are at least rewarded equal to a fard, and the fara'id that we fulfill, they are rewarded 70-fold more at least. Then وَهُوَ شَهْرُ الصَّبْرِ. The Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Sahaba and basically all of us that this is a month of sabr, of patience. Why is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that this is particularly a month of patience? Patience or sabr is something that is commanded in the Quran in different places. And where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us for salah in one place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also commanded us to have sabr, And the essential meaning of sabr is that you deal with whatever hardships, whatever problems, whatever calamities, may Allah protect us, you may have in your life. You deal with them with patience and with reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tawakkul. And think that the real doer is my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who really loves me, and cares for me more than my own self. That is Allah. So the real creator of all situations is my Allah, the one who loves me more than my own self. Therefore, in whatever I'm facing, there has to be some benefit. There has to be some benefit. If it is coming from Allah, and it is coming from Allah, my dearest friend, then there has to be benefit in it. It may be that I am not able to see it. It may be that I am not able to perceive it. But the reality is, the fact is that there is benefit for me. There is favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for me in it. This particular month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala essentially destroys our schedule. The carnal needs that we have as a human being, eating, drinking, sleeping, maintaining a specific relationship, that is all disrupted. Our eating is disrupted. We are used to having meals at our times of own preference. Now for this month, we are allowed to eat at a certain time until a certain time, and then for a certain duration we are not allowed to eat. Similar is the case with drinking. And then at night time, when we dearly wish to hit the sack and relax, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, His Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam makes it mandatory for us that we have to stand after Isha for Taraweeh and for long rak'at, and at least listen to the whole Quran once in the whole month, which is not a small deal, which is something that we are not used to do. So the schedule of sleep is also disrupted. Then we have to wake up way earlier, and we have to perform the sunnah, which is a really beloved and blessed act in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is to eat at a particular time, roughly 2 hours, at least within that 2 hour window before the fasting time starts. And it is preferable that we delay it within the permissible limit as much as possible. The Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna. They send salawat, they send mercies upon mutasahhirin, those people who wake up at that time and partake food at that time. Then those relationships that we as adults need to have to maintain our sanity, to maintain our health, to maintain our mental, social, psychological, all sorts of well-being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a ban on it for a certain duration. All of these things are a mujahada, something that has been made as a struggle. And mujahada generally is not mandatory. When there is two options, both of them are permissible, then we take the easier way out. In deen, whenever we have two options that are perfectly permissible, we take the easier way out. But in this particular month, all of these mujahadat, all of these struggles, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made mandatory. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done so out of His mercy. Because if He had made it mandatory, we would not have done it. So all this mujahada has been made mandatory. And how do we understand this? We take a piece of paper and we fold it in one direction. And then we want to straighten it back. If you want to bring it back to its original, we keep on flattening it, it will not come back to what it used to be. But if we flip it backwards, if we fold it backwards, and then straighten it back again, it will come back to its natural shape. This is a very easy to understand example of what mujahada is. Then our mashayikh, our Sufiya explain that Every single person in the world, according to the Prophet ﷺ, was born on the fitrah, on the nature, which is this deen of Islam. But nurture, how our parents gave us an upbringing, how the society taught us, what we learned in our schools, what we learned from our peers, what we learned from our teachers, our parents. Those things transform our nature. If we have good company and good upbringing, we become a good person. But if our company is not the best, then our nature starts to change. Just like that paper that starts to fold in a certain direction. Now if you want to bring it back to Islam, to fitrah, the most beloved and the perfect way of life, we have to fold it backwards. So we do the extra mile. We go and we do the extra mujahada, which is folding the paper in the other direction. That is, we hold ourselves back from eating and drinking, which is generally permissible in halal. We hold ourselves back from sleeping at a certain time when it is generally permissible. We hold ourselves back from maintaining certain relationships which are otherwise permissible. This is folding the paper in the other direction. This is the mujahada. For this 1 month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Nabi promises, that who makes the best use of this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala straightens them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala straightens their life. And this has been promised in the Quran as well. That, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. So that your nature comes back to the nature of taqwa, being careful and considerate of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, وَهُوَ شَهْرُ الصَّبْرِ. This is a month of patience and holding strong and fulfilling the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doing all these mandatory mujahadat. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, وَالصَّبْرُ ثَوَابُهُ الْجَنَّةِ. This patience, there's only one reward for it, which is it earns you Jannah. You get Jannah as a reward for this patience for this 1 month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the understanding. وَشَهْرُ الْمَوَاسَةِ. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that this is a month of feeling for others, feeling the suffering that others might be going through. People might not have food. People might not have those luxuries, those abundance in life that we have. And when we stay hungry and we stay awake and we put ourselves in mujahada, we feel for them. We understand what they go through, and the spirit to take care of the needs of our brothers increases in us. And this is what we should do. And learning from this 1 month, we should carry it forwards into the other parts of the other months of the year. Then another way that the Prophet ﷺ teaches us that you can very easily earn a lot of reward with a very minimal effort, which is that من فطر فيه صائما كان له مغفرة لذنوبه وعتق رقبته من النار. Whoever gives to people, a fasting person, they are fasting, you provide anything to them to break their fast. When it is time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives all the sins. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives this blanket statement, it refers to our minor sins. So when you take care and you feed someone to help them break their fast, Allah is forgiving all your minor sins and freeing your neck from the hellfire. The Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, not everyone has the means that we could give a full meal, satiate a person who is fasting. May Allah bless the Sahaba. May Allah bless them. Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. They asked all the right questions at the right times. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that this ajr, this thawab, is given to the person who من فطر صائما على مذقة لبن أو شربة من ماء. whoever gives to a fasting person even a drink of milk or water, Allah is ready to give that reward. And the one who feeds a meal, satiates in whatever way the hunger of a fasting person, then saqahu Allahu min hawdi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give them to drink from my pond, which is the pond of Kawthar, the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sharbatan la yadma'u hatta yadkhul al-jannah. Allah will give to them in such a way, such a drink, so much that they will never feel thirsty. Imagine that day is when people will be drowning in their sweat. It will be a very hot, very intense day. And on that day, these people who took care of feeding others at the time of fasting, Allah will give them to drink so much that they will be free of their worry about their thirst. And the meaning herein is that whoever is being given from that pond and whoever is being honored in that manner, then Allah is going to make the whole day, all aspects of it, easy for them. It's not that a person will be given one honor and then tested and tried and punished in another way. When this honor is mentioned, then their whole day will become easy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among one of those. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. وهو شهر أوله رحمة وأوسطه مغفرة وآخره عتق من النار. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the beginning part of this month is rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does it mean? That rahmah is restricted only to the first 10 days? No. These are all the headings, the unwanat, the ways of mentioning how Allah is attentive towards you, all of His creation. The first 10 days are of mercy, which means that those people who are ready and basically, so to say, hit the ground running when Ramadan starts, they are ready for Ramadan, they have cleansed themselves of sin by repenting and paying whatever was due on them. Right away, they start to reap from the benefits of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Their world, their affairs of this world and the hereafter, they start to straighten up. And those who are relatively negligent, Allah showers them with the mercy that they start waking up. And through that awakening, in the middle 10 days, they ask Allah for forgiveness, and Allah does forgive them. So maghfirah for everyone. And then even those who pass those days in negligence as well, the last 10 days, the peak of this very month, which is itself very blessed and very great, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at least frees everyone's necks from the hellfire. So everyone gets their pardon, except for a very few people. Very few people. Those people who are rebellious. Those people who choose to not get forgiveness. I was listening, Had Ali radiallahu anh, it's a saying, he said that if Allah had to put the ummah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in hellfire, if that was the intent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if that was the deal right all along, Allah would not have given this ummah Ramadan. In this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking for even little opportunities, even little something from us. We do, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives. On one sajda, on one wudu, on one act of wudu, if done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seeking reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ready to forgive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us the one who are from our side willing to receive it, willing to work for it. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the benefits of this month. One last thing, man khaffafa an mamluki fi ghafar Allahu lah wa a'taqahu min an-nar. If somebody does even as little as only reducing the workload of somebody who's working under them, it might be their children, it might be of course, their spouse, at their workplace, a Muslim person who is fasting, and they reduce their workload just because he's a Muslim and he's fasting, I'm going to do my part to ease their fasting, ease their mujahada. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives their sins as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves them from the hellfire. Another thing that is mentioned in this hadith, it's a month yuzadu fihi rizqul mu'min. It's a month in which the rizq of believer, the provision, all the blessings, be them physical, material or spiritual, all sorts of blessings are increased in this month. So we see the physical rizq being increased, but that is not the only meaning of this hadith. The meaning of this hadith is that your deeds, they are also increased, and we read about how they are increased. Then the effect of those deeds, the spiritual effects of those deeds, every good deed takes us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in this month it takes us way closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That same deed has a lot of increased benefit, a lot of increased effect in getting us near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, increasing us in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, I invite myself and all of us to sit down for a bit and think about the blessing and the mercy and the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already done to us, that He has given us life to exist in this month of Ramadan and experience the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this month of Ramadan. And then also think, what is my behavior? What am I doing? Has my life changed even a single bit? Has my routine changed even a single bit? And if it has it been for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I doing it for expectation of reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And may Allah forgive us if it has not changed one bit. If our thinking, if our mentality has not changed even a little bit, my dear respected brothers, this month has just started. We have been given time by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we all know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that whoever remains deprived in this month, they are the real loser. They are the biggest loser. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from being among those. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create the best of effects of what was said and heard on the hearts of the speaker and the listeners. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Brothers who haven't prayed the sunnah can do so now. Jazakallahu khairan.